Welcome back, everybody, to When It's Game Day. Today, you're stuck with me. You're stuck with just me. But we are going to switch it up with what we're going to talk about today. We're going to move away from basketball. Excuse me. We're going to move away from basketball, and we're going to move into football, my favorite sport. So, no guests today. So, I didn't want to talk about the conference finals because it's still in the making, and I thought we'd just wait until after they're all done. We could talk about what happened, probably get JJ back in the show here just because I want to hear what he's going to have to say after these first three games or however long the series is going to take. So I thought we'd move to football just because I can talk a lot more about football, and guys are probably aren't going to believe this, but I feel like my takes are probably going to be a little bit better. My predictions are probably going to be a little bit better just because I watch the football a lot more than I do NBA regular season wise. I watch every game. So this will be a lot more fun for me on this end. But let's just get right into it. So, how I'm going to do these first few episodes for football is that I'm going to go through each division in the league, and I'm going to go through each team's schedule, and I'm going to try to predict and go through which games they're going to lose, which games they're going to win, and who's going to win the division and who's going to lose the division. So, that's just kind of going to be how it's going to start. And then once the season actually starts for the NFL, then I'll start doing previews of the weeks coming up, and then just going over what happened the week prior. So let's just get right into it here. We're going to start with my favorite team's division, the AFC South, starting with the Jags. Don't ask me why I'm a Jags fan living in the Midwest, but I am, and I like them. So let's just start off week one here. The Jaguars actually have, I want to say, the ninth toughest schedule this season. The ninth toughest schedule this season at 51 win percentage in the league. So, I mean, our first four games start off Miami, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Houston. Four playoff teams, solid teams. I feel like the worst team out of those four teams is definitely going to be Miami. So the week one matchup, I think we can win that game. It's in Miami, which isn't really a big deal. I mean, it's in Florida. It's not going to be that much. It's not going to be a different climate. So the only big thing is the fans. And in my eyes, the Dolphins took a downgrade after last year. They went into the playoffs. They played Kansas City and lost in that cold, bitter game. That I do remember watching that game. That was tough. I couldn't have went to that game. That was way too cold for my liking. I wouldn't be able to go there. But I think the Jaguars match up better. They have they have an advantage. I feel like maybe on their offensive end against the Miami defense. Because Miami lost a lot of players on defense, which is crazy. I mean, they still have like Jalen Ramsey and all those guys, but they lost their backers and linemen. And I think the Jaguars can just beat them on offense, and it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a shootout. But I don't know at the same time because the Jaguars updated their defense, better safeties, better D linemen. So it'll be a fun game. Good tone setter for the season, especially with these first four games, tough out of the gates. But it's going to be a good test to see where the team is at, and it's going to be a stressful 4 weeks for me because I really get into my football. So it's going to be a stressful 4 weeks for me. But yeah, I think the Jags take week one. Moving on, week two, they play Cleveland in Jacksonville, so that's a good thing. But Cleveland's a really tough test just because their defense is always super solid, and it's going to come down to whether if our offense can play the game and do what they want to do. Because last year, I remember when we played Cleveland, we just could never really get in a rhythm offensively. I mean, Trevor threw like 2 or 3 picks that game. I'm pretty sure all of them were like deep passes, and they were just thrown up in the air way too long, and they were just easy picks for Cleveland. And we ended up only losing that game by like single digits. So it's not like we easily could have lost. Like we easily could have won that game, even though we lost or threw so many picks, turned the ball over. I'm pretty sure David Njoku killed us that game. So obviously he's probably going to be a top priority for the Jags to D up in that game. But I do think this is one of the games that the Jaguars are going to lose just because that defense on Cleveland's side is just so good. and they're hard to score on. But if it's going to come down to what I see in week 1, if I see that the Jaguars' offense comes out and puts up 27, they put up 27 at least in week 1, I can maybe see them beating the Browns. It's just going to come down whether if their offense is clicking or not. Hopefully it's not going to be like last year where we start off crazy good and then end the season just one of the worst in the league. So, but I still see us losing that game right off the bats right now. It could change, but right now I see us losing that game. So we start off 1-1. I was actually supposed to be writing this down so I wouldn't forget here. All right. Week 3 at Buffalo. Tough environment. Monday Night Football. But the tough environment is the biggest factor here. I mean, yes, the Bills are good, but the Jags have had success against this Buffalo team. I mean, last year we played them in London, and obviously the Jaguars always play good in London. They play in London 2 times a year, and they seem to always win at least one game in London. They don't play them in London this year. They play them in Buffalo. Tough environment. Tough environment. Probably one of the hardest environments to play in all of football, maybe second to Arrowhead. That place is crazy. Been there once. But I feel like that's a big factor. It's just the hostile environment. Like I said, the Jaguars have beat the Bills the last 2 times they played them. And for some reason, I feel like that success is just – I feel like Buffalo is one of those teams that the Jaguars they've had figured out for the last couple of years. So I think that is a game that they can win. No Stephon Diggs. So that's one less weapon that they have even before. They had Stephon Diggs, and the Jaguars beat them in London pretty handily. So I do think this is a game that the Jaguars can win. If they can overcome the adversity on the road, I think that the Jaguars can win that game. But it's going to come down to whether if they can keep composure, stick to the game plan, doing what they have to do to win that game. And it's just going to come down to blocking out that crowd and obviously stopping Josh Allen. That's going to be the biggest goal, is just stopping Josh Allen on defense. So, yeah, but the better Josh Allen is on the defensive side, not the offensive side. I just got to throw that out there. All right, move on to week 4 at Houston. So back-to-back, 3 out of the first 4 games are away. The 3 and 4 are pretty tough environments. I mean, just because Houston is a division rival and they're on the uprise, they have Stephon Diggs, they have Tank Dell, they have C.J. Stroud. The team is good. The team is really, really good. They were good last year without Stephon Diggs, without Danielle Hunter. Their defense is going to be even better than last year. So it's crazy that that's a team that was on the uprise last year and made the playoffs for the first time in a while and won a playoff game, beat the Browns actually with a team that was playing really, really well when they beat them. So that team they have a bright future. I'm just going to say that. That's one of the scariest teams in the league, let alone in the AFC South. They're probably the favorites to win. No, they are the favorites to win the division unless they can just somehow fall apart. That would be great for us Jags fans because that's the only really team that's going to be a major, major threat. But I think the matchup this season is going to be a lot like last season. I feel like we're going to split it, but instead of the road teams winning the game, I think it's going to be the home teams that win their game. So it's at Houston. So I'm going to take the Jaguars to lose that game. So we're starting off 2-2. We usually don't beat the Texans twice in a year, so I don't want to pick that we'd beat them twice, but I don't think that we'd lose twice either. So I think we're going to split the games with Houston. So whenever we get that to them in week 13, I think the Jaguars will win at least one of those games. But I don't want to say that the Jaguars are going to lose both games to Houston because it's one of those teams that we kind of have to beat if we want to win the division. So I want to give myself some hope that we can beat them, in my mind at least. But week 5, Indianapolis. This team swept last year. I went to one of them. Actually, I went to that week 1 game in Indianapolis. That was amazing. Crazy game. Anthony Richardson, that was his only game that he really played, I'm pretty sure. I think he got injured week 1 if I'm not mistaken, at the end of that game. But he's good. he's going to be, hopefully he stays healthy. I mean, that team is going to look completely different than when Gardner Minshew was their quarterback. So teams are going to have to look back at that week 1 matchup against the Jaguars last year and try to get film from him then, because there's no film out there from him. So it's going to be a completely different team, like I said. Offensive wise, I mean, they got this. The defense is good. They have DeForest Buckner on the defensive line, and he's probably their best player. They have stout defense. Home game against the Colts, I am going to take the Jaguars at home. I have confidence against the Colts just because last year we swept them, so not really too worried about them. I'm going to try to make this go a little bit faster. It's going a little bit longer than I was expecting. Week 6, we got Chicago in London. Yep, these next 2 games are in London. So Jaguars in London are always probably the favorite, but Chicago is good. They have a really good team. The Bears are. It's going to come down to if Caleb Williams is really that guy. If he's not that guy, then they're not going to be good. If he is who they think he is coming out of college, they're probably going to be good. I would watch out in the NFC North because the Bears have the offensive weapons. They've always had a decent defense, I think. I don't know. I don't really see them getting shit on by 20 points or whatever. So I would have to assume that their defense is somewhat good consistently, but now they have a pretty good offense with Caleb Williams and all Romeo Dunze, Keenan Allen, all those guys. So, I mean, their offense is stacked. So I think we're going to split the games in London this year. I think we're going to lose to the Bears because I think they're going to be good. So, and then week 7, London again, we play the Patriots. Patriots aren't very good. Yes, they have Drake May now, but other than that, who do they really have? Not really anyone. I'm taking Jags against the Patriots. All right, going back to the States. We play Green Bay in Jacksonville. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't know. We'll see if Jordan Love is going to be who he was at the end of the last season. So if he is as good as he was at the end of the last season, then that team's going to be really, really good, and they have a shot to win the NFC North. I feel like it's the Bears and the Packers in that division. So the Packers are good. We took Darnell Savage from them, though, so they're going to be a little, I wouldn't say weaker, but they're not going to have him in their secondary. So I don't know. My buddy Carson's going to hate me, but I'm going to take the Jags. He's not very popular with my picks recently because he's a Celtics fan, and I've been bumming on the Celtics for the last few games and how they haven't been playing anyone really good, and they've been just getting like a cakewalk through the East. So we'll probably talk about that next episode when all the conference finals are over. But let's see, we got 5-3. It looks like here 5-3 through 6 weeks here. Through 9 weeks. Sorry. Week 9, Philadelphia at Philadelphia. We're losing that game. Not much to talk about there. That team's going to be the team to beat in the NFC, so there's not much to talk about there. Week 10, at Minnesota. Or not at Minnesota. Against Minnesota in Jacksonville. I got us winning that game. J.J. McCarthy's not going to be as good as you think he is, Minnesota fans. I'm sorry. Coming from a college that never really threw the ball. Yes, he probably can throw the ball, but he's not going to be as talented as they say Caleb Williams is going to be. All those other QB prospects are better at throwing the ball than J.J. McCarthy. I'm sorry. He handed the ball off his whole college career. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Jaguars win week 10. Week 11, at Detroit. Losing that game. Lions are another great team in the NFC North. 3 good teams in that division in the NFC, so I don't think we're winning it, especially in Detroit. That place goes crazy. Week 12, we got a bye week. 13 against Houston in Jacksonville. I'm taking the win there. Like I said, I think they're going to split the games like last year. Just the difference is that the home teams are going to win. Last year, both road teams won. Week 14, first matchup against the Titans. It's a revenge game. Calvin Ridley against his former team, not returning to Jacksonville. That'll be the storyline in Week 17 when they play the Titans again. But Calvin Ridley against his former team that brought him back to life. I don't think the Titans are going to be very good. Will Levis is He's I don't even know who their backup is, but I'm not on the Will Levis train. I got us winning that game. I think we're going to sweep the Titans this year. We're not going to. After last year's Week 17 or Week 18 game, I just think that they're the team that we just want to shit on every single time we play them, especially after last year. So, and because they took Calvin Ridley, so I mean he was worth that. He's not worth $50 million. So sorry, but all right, Week 15 versus New York. So we're in Jacksonville against New York. A-Rod. I don't know. We beat the Jets without him a couple years ago. I think this is a game that we can win. If we slow down their offense, their defense, yes, is good. Sauce Gardner's good. But I think the Jaguars have a lot of weapons on offense, and Evan Ingram's going to have a big game against the Jets. I'm taking the Jags in that game. I have a lot of wins on here. This is not looking very good for me because if they don't win these games, I'm gonna look like an idiot, a biased Jaguars fan. But you know what? I don't care. Let's just go through here. We got a few games left. Week 16 at Las Vegas. That's a win. Sorry, I'm probably gonna sleep on them, and then they're gonna lose. So, but that's a game that we should win. We should win that game. I mean, their quarterback. I want to say Gardner Minshew went there. I could be wrong. I need to double check this. Let's see here. Yeah, he's on the Raiders, but he's probably gonna go off just because it's against the Jaguars. He tends to go off against the Jags. He did last year at least one game. I think we're winning that game against Las Vegas, winning the game against Tennessee in Jacksonville in Week 17. Week 18 against Indy in Indy. Part of me wants to say that we're going to lose one game to the Colts. I can't remember what I said earlier when I was on them, but I have a feeling we're going to lose at least one game to them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 11-6. That seems like a lot of wins. That seems like a really good record for how tough our schedule is. But you know what? We're going to go with it. That's the season for the Jags, 11-6. Not a bad season. I mean, if they played as well as they did last year, the first 11 games, they're fine. They started 8-3 last year, and they ended up 9-8. So it's not a bad take because they started off really good last year. And in my opinion, they might have gotten a little bit better this offseason. So we'll see. But we're going to move on to the second team here, AFC South, the Texans. This team's going to be good. I have not looked at their schedule yet. Kind of looks similar to the Jags, actually. They start off week 1 at Indianapolis. I think they're beating the Colts. Week 2 versus Chicago. I don't know. It's just gonna. It's so hard because I don't know how good Caleb Williams is gonna be. If he's good, it could be a good game. But I have to take the Texans. They're really, really good. The only thing I can see with the Texans is if Stephon Diggs comes into that organization and tears up that locker room, and then people start saying, "I want the ball." No, you don't get the ball. You know, that's what Stephon Diggs did in Buffalo, and they were never able to get past the Chiefs. And I don't know. I have a feeling he could tear up that locker room and make it just a toxic organization because of him, because that's what he's known to do. But I'm going to take him win over the Bears. Minnesota, at Minnesota. I feel like this is the game that the Texans are going to take lightly. It's just my opinion. I don't know. Too early to really know. I might do it again, but I'm going to take them a loss here in Minnesota. Jacksonville, what did I say? Week 4. The home team is going to win, I thought. So I'm going to take the Jags. So that's going to be another loss. So they're 2-2 right now. Buffalo, they're going to win that game. New England, they're going to win. Green Bay. This is a good matchup because it's two teams that are young quarterbacks that are just starting their career really because Caleb Love, I'm blanking on his name, Jordan Love. His career really just started because he was under the wing of Aaron Rodgers. But that could be like a shootout. That could be a really good shootout. But I think I'm going to take the Texans just because their defense is probably just a little bit better. Colts in Houston. I'm taking the Texans. So right now we got 6-2. At New York, I took the Jags over New York. I think the Texans are going to have a really good record this year. They're probably going to win the AFC South. Jaguars are probably going to make a wild card because of their record. You can't miss the playoffs at 11-6. So, let's see. Jets losing. I don't think the Jets are going to be all that good. I don't think they're going to be as good as people think they're going to be. Week 10 versus Detroit. They're losing that game. I think Detroit's coming back with vengeance this year. It's Sunday Night Football. Next week 11 at Dallas, Monday Night Football. Is this the year for the Dallas Cowboys? No, I'm just kidding. It's never their year. That's what everyone says if you're a Cowboys fan. So, I'm going to take I'm taking the Texans. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be. Actually, I take that back. I'm taking the Cowboys. Cowboys are winning it. Monday Night Football. Dak's going to go off. Primetime Dak. Week 12 versus Tennessee. I don't think the Titans are going to be they're going to lose the division. At Jacksonville. Loss. 14. Week 14. Bye week. Week 15 versus Miami. I think they're going to beat Miami. Like I said, I don't think Miami is going to be very good. They declined after last year, defensive-wise. Tyreek Hill and Tua and Jalen Waddle. That's really it. So, Week 16 at Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium. No, losing that game. I'm sorry, Texans fans. Week 17 versus Baltimore. The rematch from last year's playoff game. I think the Ravens, they're going to be good. They got Derrick Henry now. They're definitely losing that game. Ravens are taking that game at Tennessee, taking the Texans. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-7? 10-7 I have them at. So what's their ranked schedule here? I guess they're at the fifth toughest schedule. So I mean that's probably a pretty good record for that schedule. So we got Jags 11-6 and Texans 10-7. So if that's correct, the Jaguars are winning the division. So, but my takes could be completely wrong because you guys know that they are usually wrong. So let's move on. 2 teams left here. We're gonna run through these last 2 just because I don't think these teams are gonna be. Maybe the Colts might be a little bit relevant, but we'll move on to the Colts here. Week 1, they play the Texans in Indianapolis. I took the Texans to win that game, so I am gonna. Colts are losing that game. Excuse me. Week 2 at Green Bay. I think they're losing that game. Green Bay's too good. Colts. It's up in the air. If Anthony Richardson stays healthy and Jonathan Taylor doesn't not want to play, then they could be good. But I'm taking them 0-2 to start versus Chicago. I'm gonna. What's their strength schedule here? Let's see. Where are they at? They way down here? Oh yeah, they're 22nd. So they have a pretty easy schedule. I don't know. This is probably going to change. All the Bears games could change just depending on how Caleb Williams plays. I'm taking Colts over the Bears. Colts over the Steelers in Indianapolis at Jacksonville. I think I can't remember who I took. What week is this? 5? I think I took the Jags both times. Did I really? I must have. No, actually, I think they split it. So I'm going to go win, and then week 18 is going to be a loss. So weeks 5, they're beating Jacksonville in Indianapolis. Week 6 at Tennessee. No, I don't think that happened. I think I had them losing both games. Loss. At Jacksonville. There's no way I had them beating the Jaguars in Jacksonville. Okay. At Tennessee. I don't think the Titans are going to be very good. Win. Versus Miami in Indianapolis. I think Colts lose at home. They lose at home. They lose at home. They did it last year. They're going to do it again. Miami's going to Indianapolis, beating them. Week 8 against Houston, loss, losing that game. Week 9 at Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy, not Dalvin Cook. Wow. Aaron Jones. I'm going to take the Vikings in that game just because. I don't like the Colts. And I got a lot of family that like the Vikings, so why not root for the Vikings this game? Versus Buffalo, I'm going to take. No, I'm saying that I think they're going to lose that game. I think Buffalo's going to be decent, but they're not going to be great. They're going to be mid. And I think the Colts are going to be mid, but I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be midder. Like, what's the word? How do you say more, like better? They're going to be better mid. Better at being mid than the Colts, if that's how you want to say it. At the Jets, there's no way the whole division beats the Jets, right? Loss in New York, Sunday Night Football. They're gonna lose. I think that's like that's probably gonna be the first Sunday Night Football game of Anthony Richardson's career if he makes it that far without getting injured. Versus Detroit, that's a loss. Detroit's good. At New England, they're gonna beat the Patriots. Patriots don't have anyone. Drake May is gonna be okay. I don't know anyone else on that team, if I'm being completely honest. 14 by week 15 at Denver. Bo Nix. I love Bo Nix just because I'm an Oregon fan. Watched him his whole career in Oregon. Great player. Against the Colts, I just don't think that the Denver defense is going to be able to stop them. I'm going to take Indianapolis in that game. I don't think Denver's going to be very good this year. Bo Nix has to grow a little bit, and then they could probably be good. Get him some better weapons. Some more weapons, sorry. Week 16, Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. I think the Titans are going to lose the division, so I'm taking the Colts in this one. New York. No, loss. Or for the Giants are going to lose. And then week 18 against the Jags, I had them losing. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, yeah, 7 wins. So 7-10. It's not a horrible record. I mean, it's worse than last year, obviously, but 7-10. That's the Colts next year. My predictions so far, my first prediction. I'll probably be doing these again, like I said, after maybe a couple weeks, but maybe not the whole season. But I'll be predicting the games prior to the upcoming weeks. So my picks could be different. Let's see. Let's go. Tennessee Titans now. Week 1, they play the Bears in Chicago. Titans are losing that game. That's going to be a big game. Week 1 in Chicago. Number 1 overall pick, Romeo Dunze, Keenan Allen. That place is going to be a rock, and they haven't rocked in a while. And they might have found their quarterback. Might have. Don't quote me, but they might have. They've had a bunch of different quarterbacks, so hopefully this is the one for you Bears fans. I hope this is the one. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care about you Bears fans. I'm just kidding. All right, New York week 2 in Tennessee. Jets are winning that game. Aaron Rodgers better than Will Levis. He's going to win that matchup. Green Bay versus in Tennessee. Green Bay's winning that game. 0-3 start for the Titans. At Miami, 0-4 start. Like I said, I don't think the Titans are very good. Week 5, bye week. Week 6, Indianapolis. I have the Colts winning that game, so that's another loss. 0-5 to start. Titans not looking so hot here. What's their strength schedule? This is pretty tough so far. Let's see. Tennessee. Oh, 23rd. I guess their second half isn't that good. I've seen the same theme though with all these AFC South teams. They're playing like the Jets, the Bears, all the NFC South or NFC North. I'm guessing they do that with divisions. I don't know. Let's see, where am I at here? Miami, 3, 4, 5. Okay, week 7 at Buffalo. I just 0-6 start. I just don't see them winning these games. Tennessee is not going to be very good. They beat the Jags last year in week 18 to cut them from the playoffs, and that's all their motivation was, to not let them go into the playoffs. And that's what happened, and I don't want to talk about that. So, week 8 at Detroit. That's not going to – that's all losses. 7 straight losses to start the year. Versus New England. I can see them winning that game, actually. Tennessee, more weapons. I forget that Tennessee has Calvin Ridley. I really do. And Tony Pollard. I'm really messing this one up here, guys. I've completely forgot that they had those players. Let's just go with it. At Los Angeles. Chargers, matter of fact. Justin Herbert. Harbaugh is going to be a great coach. I think him and Herbert are going to be great together. They're going to win games. At Los Angeles, I'm going to take the Titans just because I feel like they haven't won. I haven't picked them yet enough. Versus Minnesota, win. 3 straight wins here. 3-7. Not a great start, but you know what? There's plenty of season to go here. At Houston, that's a loss. Houston's not going to lose to the Titans. Neither. I can't remember what I did for the Jags picks here. This is not very good. I'm not doing this very productive here. I'm just not knowing which games I picked here. Let's see. Houston at Washington in week 13. That team is not very good. They're winning that game. So they got 4 wins now, 4-8. Versus Jacksonville in Jacksonville. No, in Tennessee. I'm pretty sure I had them losing that game. What is that, week 14? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I have them losing that game. Versus Cincinnati. I feel like Cincinnati's coming back this year with vengeance, but they don't have Tyler Boyd. I'm pretty sure he went to the Titans, if I'm not mistaken. So one of the receivers went. I'm pretty sure it was Tyler Boyd went to the Titans, which is really, really disappointing because there was rumors about him going to the Jags. So AFC South, weapons, receiver groups, probably one of the top divisions in the NFL after this offseason. You got the Titans, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, and whoever their other receiver was. I can't think of him right now. Jaguars, you got Gabe Davis. I just about said Calvin Ridley. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and obviously they just drafted that LSU receiver. So, and then obviously you got the Texans, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. That whole group is going to be good too. So they could arguably be the best receiver division in the league. So I don't know what other division has groups like that in each team, and young quarterback talent. That division is young with quarterbacks, and they're going to be probably one of the best divisions in football in a couple of years. I feel like they're on the uprise. Each team is. Jaguars' window of winning the division has closed, and I'm scared. Honestly, I really am. I don't know if they're ever going to win Super Bowl or make a Super Bowl because I'm not getting any younger, and the team is not getting any better. So, not very good. Where did I start here? I think I was at Cincinnati. I had them losing. Yes. Winning? No. Losing? I don't think I picked yet. I'm going Cincinnati. And then I'm going to week 16 at Indianapolis. I'm pretty sure I had them losing. God, this is so bad. I'm going to switch that, actually. I'm taking Titans week 16 against the Colts in Indianapolis. At Jacksonville. God dang it. I forgot that they had all those players, so this is really making it tough. I'm going to go loss just because I already have the Jags beating them. And then against Houston, loss. So I have them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 and 12. That's not right. 6 and 11. That's what it's got to be. 6 and 11 for the Titans. So this is how it's going to go. 11-6 Jags winning the division. Texans 10-7, second, probably going to make playoffs. 7-10 Colts, third division, and losing the division. Titans 6-11. Honestly, these picks probably aren't going to be very good. It's too early to really know what's going to happen. I didn't really want to get too into depth in this to make this long and a boring episode. But I think the AFC South is going to be good, and I think whoever wins the division is going to make a run in the playoffs. It's either going to be the Jags or the Texans. I don't think the Colts or Titans are ever going to, not for a while. They're not going to win the division in a while. But whoever wins the division is probably going to make, I think they're going to make the conference, the AFC title game. But they're going to have to get through the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Ravens are probably going to be the team to beat. They're probably my pick to make the Super Bowl this year just because they have Lamar Jackson and now Derrick Henry. It's like, what do you do to stop that? Obviously, Ravens were good without Derrick Henry, and he's one of the best running backs in the league. And you throw him on a team that just made the AFC title game, and what do you get? Super Bowl team. So that's my pick for the Super Bowl as of right now. But that's my picks for AFC South. That's going to do it for this episode. Let me know if you guys like this kind of format, if you want to see different with the picks or whatever, if this is boring or I'll have Keaton on here sometimes, so I'll probably be a little bit better when he's on here. I'll get some of his input on these picks too. If you want me to go more in depth with it, if you want to see me really talk about each game, it's probably going to be a longer episodes. I don't like to make longer ones, but if that's what you guys want to see, I'll do it. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in to When It's Game Day. Subscribe, hit the bell, whatever you got to do, like it. You know what to do. But peace.